Hey guys, and welcome back to Healthy Girl Era. Welcome back to my podcast, welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited to have you here with me. I just wanted to thank you guys so much for all the love on all of my recent podcast episodes, on my YouTube videos, and just everything. It honestly means the world, and it just means I can continue making content for you guys. So yeah, just a massive thank you to start off today's episode. A bit of a catch up, what has been happening the last week. I feel like these weeks go so quickly because obviously I record every single week and the time just goes by. I feel like I've just recorded a podcast episode. The last podcast episode I recorded was just after my high rocks, well, a couple days. And again, it feels like that should be, I don't know. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, it feels like my high rocks was yesterday, but no, it's over a week ago. So yeah, I feel like I'm just settling back into my routine. After doing the high rocks, my body was in bits, to be honest. It's been such a while, obviously, since my body has felt that level of DOMS, and yeah, it was just like real hobbling down the stairs, could barely sit on the toilet kind of vibes. So I feel like it's taken me quite a while to get back into my routine, which I have struggled with, if I'm being honest. I have such just a routine that works for me with my gym sessions, my runs. I love it. I love my routine. I feel like this has made me realize I am such a routine person. So after the high rocks and needing to take quite a few days rest was fine. I love rest, but it just feels like then this week has been affected because my routine's been a bit thrown off. So I'm so excited for Monday tomorrow to start back to my usual routine because I feel fully back now. And yeah, I'm just so excited, and I love doing events, don't get me wrong, but I do love my routine, and it does give me so much motivation as well for the next event, which is in March, so a mixed doubles may or may not be coming. So yeah, without further ado, I'm going to jump into today's episode. It is such a good one, and yeah, thank you so much for being here with me. So today we're going to be talking about how to build habits that actually stick, how to make any new thing that you want in your life, whether that's workouts, whether that's nutrition, whether that's mindset, to actually stick. I think probably the most requested thing that I get questions about is, okay, I know what to do. I feel like people know what to do. There's so much information online about what to do, how to eat healthily, how to work out, all of this stuff. But how do you stick to it? Because I feel like I was stuck in a cycle for so long of implementing new habits for a week and then going, or I just knew what I wanted to do, but I had no idea how to actually implement them and how to stay consistent with them, because I feel like that is not talked about as much as the habits themselves. So we're going to talk about that today. I think this is such an important one and a really, really good topic. And I think it's just the foundations really of self-growth and self-improvement, because if you can't make anything stick in your life, you're not going to be able to progress, because nothing's ever going to stay long term. And I think with all of my habits, whether that's my nutrition, whether that's my mindset, whether that's the movement I do, all of it is long term. I'm not looking to just implement something all or nothing and it's going to be gone in a month. I'm looking to build a long-term, sustainable routine and life that I love. And in order to do that, you have to implement habits in the right way. So that is what we're going to be talking about today. I really, really hope you guys enjoy, and yeah, you can take something out of today's episode, because I really do think this is a useful one. Number one, we're going to start with mindset. Now, I think it is so important before you want to make any change in your life is to work on your mindset around change, around habits. Now, habits aren't about motivation. Again, the thing that I would say probably the most common question line in my comments or in my DMs is, but how do you stay motivated? This is not about motivation, people. You need to get your head around the fact that this is about discipline and about consistency. This is not motivation. If I relied on motivation for my habits, I would not get them done. I rarely feel motivated. It's such a fleeting emotion. Your feelings change every day. Your motivation changes every single day. You cannot rely on motivation. People spur that word around a lot, motivation, you need, this is going to motivate you. I need motivation. No, you don't need motivation. You need discipline and you need consistency, because like I said, if I relied on motivation, let me tell you, I would get nowhere, because motivation doesn't last. So the first thing to do is really work on your mindset. It's discipline and consistency. It's not motivation. And when you realize that, you can actually start to work on your discipline, and then things become easier. I always say discipline is honestly like a muscle. You have to work it and really train it. And yeah, so this is not about motivation, okay? Because motivation is fleeting, feelings change. get your head around the fact that this is about consistency and discipline, which you're going to need a lot of. And honestly, moving on from that, get your head around the fact that it's not easy. If it was easy, everyone would do it. Depending on your habit might just be as simple as drinking more water, or it might be something like setting up your own business or doing something really out of the ordinary. It's not meant to be easy. Implementing any change in your life is not easy. You're going against your brain's neuroscience. You're going against what it knows and the pathways that it already has, and you're actually making a change. It's not going to be easy, and I feel like a lot of people give up at the first hurdle because, oh, well, it just feels really hard, it just doesn't feel right. It's not meant to. If you want to make a meaningful change in your life, you need to get your head around the fact that it's not going to be easy straight away. It will get easier, but it's not going to be easy, and it's not meant to be easy. I also really like working on identity-based discipline. I spoke about this in last week's episode, but asking yourself and creating a version of you in your mind that you're working towards. Like, I have this so imprinted in my brain. The version of me I can see in the future that has the things that I'm working towards, that has the habits I want, acts how I want. Who do you want to be? Like, create an identity around these habits, because then when you're struggling or you don't know what to do, you can just think, well, what would that future version of me do? What does that person think? How would they act? And creating that identity is so important, because it just means you're doing your habits for a purpose. You're not just, oh, well, I'm drinking water because I think it's good for me. You're the kind of person that hydrates their body and nourishes themselves. You're creating an identity around these habits. And I think that is such a powerful way to like structure your mindset, because it just means that everything has a purpose and everything feels a bit more meaningful. Creating that identity and that clear picture of you is going to make sticking to your habits so much easier. And I honestly think, before anything, write it down, draw it, or make a vision board of the future version of you that pictures everything you want, encapsulates everything you want, because once you've got that, you can tie all of your actions back to that person. Whenever you're unsure about something, you can ask yourself, what would they do? And I think that is such a good way of structuring your mindset. And I just wanted to cover the basics first, because I feel like mindset is so important, you guys know, but I think if you don't get that right first, you're destined to fail. Number 2 is start small and build momentum. One of the biggest mistakes that I see, and that I have done myself, is thinking that you can just go all in and trying to just overhaul your life overnight, pretty much. And I get it. It's like the natural response of what you want to do when you think about making a change. You're like, well, I want to do it now, or I want to get it done tomorrow. I want to do it now. I want to start this tomorrow, but then I always want to do that. So let's just all start it. No, let's stay calm, because the best habits start small and are built over time, because the longer they take to build, the longer they would take to fall off, basically. So if you implement something overnight, it's very, very likely that you're just going to drop it off overnight too. So starting small and building momentum, honestly, guys, small actions add up. Compound interest is so important. Like, it's such a known thing, right? Like, small actions compound and turn into big results. So start small, and it will just make it so much easier. Let's say you've got 5 habits that you want to achieve. Start with 1 and 2, get them done. Lock down that structure, lock down that kind of way that you have of implementing a new habit, for example, like the pathway, and just rinse and repeat. If you can't lock down one solid habit, you're not going to be able to lock down 10. So I honestly think start with 1 or 2. If that is drinking more water, focus on that, do it right, and it will make all the other habits that you want to implement in the future happen so much more easier, because your brain will know how to implement a new habit successfully. And also break your habits down. Don't start doing the whole habit straight away. If it is drinking more water, for example, I keep using that as an example, but let's say it is, start with just drinking 1 extra cup every morning, and then adding 1 in the evening, and then 1 in midday. Start small and build it up. Again, make it as manageable for you as possible, because you don't want to put any crazy pressure or crazy expectation on yourself, because the likelihood is that you're just going to go, no, thank you. Like, when I've tried to think, right, from tomorrow, like on a Sunday night, in the past, when I used to go, right, from tomorrow, we're going to go to the gym 5 to 6 times a week. We're going to eat really healthy. We're not going to eat anything quote unquote unhealthy. We're going to drink this much water. And then I get on Monday morning and I'm like, wow, that is way too much. So I'm just not going to do any of it. Whereas when you just say to yourself, from tomorrow, I'm just going to drink 1 extra glass of water and go for 1 afternoon walk. And then you can build up from there. Do you see how much more manageable that is? So it is so important to start small and build momentum, and that will make such a difference. Those small little actions are such wins, and they are so important in building the foundation for a mindset and a life that is set up for success inevitably. And also, your momentum matters more than your intensity. It is so much better to work solidly at a lower level over time than working in really intense bursts of motivation. Again, when you see that kind of all or nothing approach, it does tend to work back to people that are relying on motivation because they're working really hard when they feel motivated. And then if they're not feeling motivated, they just stop. Whereas when you can actually just rely on that discipline, it's just that low level of just consistent work. And that is so important in building consistency. Like, it's just stability for you, your brain, your nervous system, for everything. Staying at that stable level, just ticking over the small wins every day, rather than just trying to get everything done in one day and not doing it the rest of the days, for example, is so much better. It's so much calmer, and it's just such an easier foundation to lay for yourself for adding new habits on top of that. Number 3 is make it enjoyable. I feel like I keep saying it, but so many people message me like, I've done this for a few weeks. I started going to the gym for a few weeks. I started running for a few weeks, and then I just kind of stopped. And the number one question I always ask people is this something you enjoy? Do you enjoy it? Did you enjoy it? Because if you're trying to implement something into your life that you don't enjoy, number one, I want to ask yourself why. Why are you trying to implement a new habit or something that you just flat out don't enjoy? And I mean, don't enjoy at all. You don't enjoy it afterwards. Like, for example, on a run, like, guys, I say this all the time. It's like, before my run, I'm like, I don't want to do this. Like, I really don't want to do this. But afterwards, I feel incredible, and I know that I'm working towards a goal, and that's helped me get there. That's enjoyment, because there's a bit of enjoyment attached to this. If you don't enjoy, so for example, if before a run you were dreading it, you hated it, didn't want to do it, during the run you absolutely hate it, don't want to do it, and afterwards you just feel terrible and you just didn't enjoy it, no, don't implement that. Just because you see other people online doing something or whatever, don't try and implement someone else's habit. Like, don't do it. You see people online, and I post habit videos, but I post what works for me because they might not work for you. And that's why you can try habits and you can, have a go at them, and they might not work for you, and that's okay. Don't try and implement a routine and a habit that you just don't enjoy, because you're then just not going to enjoy your life. Like, life's too short. So don't try and implement someone else's habit. Make sure that this, before anything, is something that you actually enjoy and is going to fill your cup, and it's not just something that you think you should be doing, because that is just not right. Movements should be fun, it should be challenging, and it should be energizing. Of course, like I've said, when it comes to movement, there's going to be an element of challenge in there. Like, that is what makes exercise so rewarding, I think, because that feeling afterwards, once you've done it, is just incredible. Like, the endorphins, unmatched. But whatever form of exercise or movement for you that is fine. That doesn't need to be a HIIT class. That doesn't need to be a run. It could be a walk. It could be Pilates. It could be a freaking dance in the kitchen. Movement is movement. And it matters so much that you enjoy it, because you'll stay consistent with it. If you're trying to implement a form of movement you don't enjoy, you're just simply not going to stay consistent. Like, I say this to people all the time, it's not going to work for you. You might stick at it for a month, but it's not going to last because you just simply don't enjoy it. Whereas when you know, okay, I know this is going to make me feel really energized afterwards, you're so much more likely to commit and actually do it when your motivation levels are extra low, for example. And same with nutrition. If it should feel nourishing and energizing too. It shouldn't feel restrictive. You shouldn't be implementing someone else's diet or someone else's what I eat in a day, because it's so unique. All of our bodies are different. We all look different. So why would we all eat the same thing? Don't think that you should be implementing something. Actually know that it's doing you good and it's going to make you happy. When you enjoy the habits that you do, they feel less like work and, like a punishment, and they just feel like your lifestyle, because that's what they are. Your habits make up your routine, and your routine makes up your life. So your habits are your life, and if it's not something that you're going to enjoy, honestly, it's just not worth your time. So really make sure that whatever you're trying to implement is coming from a place of love for you, for your body, for whatever, and something that is going to actually make you feel good afterwards, during, whatever it is, not just because you think you should be doing it. Number 4 is create environmental triggers. I've said this before about setting your environment up for success. It's so important. Once you've got your habits that you want, set your freaking environment up to trigger those habits. My water bottle is next to my bed. My workout clothes are laid out for me in the morning, because it's just those triggers that make it easier for me. You should try and make your habit as easy as possible to stick to. Like, make your habit easier to do than not do, for example. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, literally lay a cup of water, like full, next to your bed, and you have to drink it, for example, when you go to bed or in the morning, because otherwise you just got a full glass of water you'd have to throw away. Like, make it easier for you to do it than not do it, if you see what I mean. And the same can be flipped the other way. If it's a bad habit that you're trying to get rid of, make it easier for you to not do it than to do it. So really set your environment up for success and create those triggers. This can be anything, and it really depends on the habit that you're trying to stick to. If it's journaling, for example, when you wake up, leave your journal at the end of your bed with a pen open, ready on the page to go. Do you know what I mean? Make it as easy for you as possible. And this can be done with literally any habit. If it is going to the gym, literally leave your workout clothes and your shoes at the bottom of your bed or the bottom of your stairs, so that you literally would have to step over them and put them away if you didn't go to the gym. It's that kind of thing. It sounds really simple, but it makes such a difference to our neuroscience and to our brains. And it just creates that trigger, which is what actually is really important for habits. There are kind of like, there's a habit loop, which is how habits work. And all habits need a trigger, and that can be something in your environment or something someone says or whatever. But make sure that your environment is set up for success, because it will make your life so much easier. And really just reduce that friction between you and the life that you want. Make your environment like your habits personified. And what I found is, once I've done that, I feel like I am living the lifestyle of my habits. It's not just something that I force myself to do, it's the way I'm living. You know, my water's always full, like my clothes are always organised and laid out for the gym, and I've got all my things in place, my journal's ready to go, my house is organised. Like, it makes your habits turn into a lifestyle as well. Number 5 is accountability and tracking. I think it is crucial to have some form of accountability when it comes to habits. An external source of accountability, preferably, is amazing. So, for an example, I think this is such a good example, and it is literally like this in action. When I did the 75 hard, I posted it every single day on social media. So I posted a vlog every single day. And let me tell you, having that external source of accountability stopped me from quitting that challenge, because there were so many times when I wanted to stop and I'd go, I've literally said to people I'm doing this. People are following my journey, following me every day, waiting for me to upload this. I cannot not do this. That was me in action, being held accountable by, yes, it was social media, but it's an external source of accountability. So even if you are trying to make a new habit or you have committed to something, give yourself that external source of accountability, whether that's telling your friends, your family, literally tell everyone, because then people are going to ask you about it and you're going to be like, oh, like when I went sober and I stopped drinking alcohol, people probably found me really freaking annoying, but I told everyone because I knew that I was going to struggle with it in terms of like keeping to it. And telling people meant that people would ask me about it. Or if we were going out for drinks and I ordered alcohol, I know they'd be like, but you don't drink. Whereas if I hadn't told anyone, people just wouldn't know, they wouldn't mention it, I wouldn't be held accountable, I could drink if I wanted to, whatever. Do you see what I mean? Having that external source of accountability is just gold dust. So yeah, like I said, even if it is creating a social media account and just posting on it, if that feels comfortable to you, making a group chat with people that might want to start the habit with you, or just messaging your family group chat or your friends every single day saying, I'm just doing this to keep myself accountable, guys. Can you ask me every single day how much water I've drank? Have that external source of accountability. It's going to motivate you as well. And it's just so important and such a way of making it easier for you to succeed, like I've spoken about. And also celebrate the small wins too with this group or however you're tracking your accountability, because you can get so caught up in the end goal and where you're going to that you forget to celebrate all of the small wins and the small achievements that you've had leading up to that. And like we mentioned at the beginning, those small wins build such important momentum, and they are an incredible way of really building that kind of like foundation, and then building on top of that foundation for these habits to succeed and for your life to succeed. So those small wins that are at the bottom are honestly the most important. They're the base layer. So celebrate those, but honestly keep yourself accountable with people, with an app, with a journal, with a tracker, whatever it is. Make sure you've got something in place that's going to help you to stick to these habits. And then number 6, be flexible and forgiving. Again, I always caveat every video with this because I think it's so important. We spend so much of our lives trying to do new things, trying to stick to things, trying to cut things out. And we forget that life is to be enjoyed now in the present, and it's to be enjoyed, right? Life is too short. So if you do not do the habit, for example, or if you do spend a few days not doing the habit because you're on holiday, that is the art of flexibility. And it's almost worse to do a habit to an extreme than just to not do it at all, because you need to have flexibility with everything in life, whether that's eating healthy, for example. You have to embrace that 80-20 approach, or you're just too restrictive. With movement, if you have last minute plans and then you're going to skip a workout, that is important, because these habits and whatever it is you're looking to implement in your life, whether that's something wellness, movement, nutrition related, that there are so many more things that are also important in your life. Of course, your diet is important, but also going out to eat with your friends is super important too. So have flexibility with yourself, and also know that that is to be expected, and there are going to be times when you're going to fall off the wagon, because having that mindset is going to be crucial for your success in getting back on the wagon. Because whenever I have been like super, I need to do this, I can't skip, it means that when I do skip, I just throw it all in the bin together. And I'm sure you guys can probably relate. And it comes back to that all or nothing thing at the beginning of the video. If you have that really rigid approach, it means you are going to be all or nothing. You're either doing this habit consistently or it's just out the window. And again, it's that whole motivation thing. So embrace flexibility and know that if you do it, loads, and then you forget one day, that's completely fine, because I'm just going to do it tomorrow. Nothing's ruined and it's okay. And like, what matters in life is what you do 80% of the time, not what you do that 20% of the time. So really embrace that flexibility, and that flexibility is what's going to give you freedom in life to do the things that you want in the moment and be spontaneous, because there are so many things more important than habits, for example. They are important and they're the foundation of your life, but there is ample opportunities for you to not do the habits, because you've got that foundation there. Okay, you've built that momentum, you use those small wins to build that layer, which means, and it allows you the grace to not do them a few days or whatever. So be really flexible with yourself and focus on the patterns over the individual days. Like, if you do find yourself struggling and you've fallen off a day, take a step back and think, actually, I've just done this consistently for the past 2 months and I'm having a few days off. Really make sure that you've got that bigger picture view, as well as focusing on the small wins, which are so important, but also step back and remember how far you've come and what you've achieved, and just really kind of just recommit yourself. Okay, that's fine. We're going to jump back on today because we've got this foundation. We've been doing this for a while now, and that's just a day off. Be really flexible with yourself, because honestly, I just think it's so important, and it just means that you can have that really consistent approach and you can be consistent as opposed to all or nothing. And the last tip for this week is use habit stacking. Now, I've spoken to you guys a bit about this. This is the art of stacking a new habit on top of an old habit. Now, again, this comes back to the whole idea of making things easier for yourself. And basically what this means is that you're attaching, like I said, a new habit onto an old habit that's already formed. Is going to be so much easier than just trying to do a new habit sporadically, for example. So if you do want to journal, let's say, you can commit yourself that you're going to journal on top of after I brush my teeth in the morning, for example. So you can say to yourself that whenever I brush my teeth, I'm then going to journal. And what that does is it actually creates that trigger, which we spoke about, which all habits need in that habit loop. Every single habit, whether it's a new habit or an old habit, has to have a trigger. And if you can create that trigger to be something that's already in your life, it's going to mean that that trigger is happening every day, and you don't need to rely on creating that trigger for yourself, if that makes sense. So habit stack. If you want to drink more water, do it while you're morning coffee. Attach it to something that you do every single day. And that is a way of making this really easy for yourself and to build that momentum. I find it so much easier when I want to do something new. I just attach it onto something else I already do. It's like I wanted to incorporate some more stretching at the gym, so I just added it onto the end of my workout. It's just really simple things like that, because I'm already doing my workout, so we're just going to add the stretching onto the end, as opposed to me saying to myself every morning, I'm going to stretch. Okay, well, you don't do anything about stretching in the morning anyway, so you're going to have to find the time. You're not going to know when to do it because there's going to be no cue in your environment, so how the hell am I going to end up stretching in the morning? It wouldn't happen. And let me tell you, I've done that before, and I've tried to implement things just kind of sporadically, and you probably have too, and they don't work. So try and cue it onto something else and attach it onto something else that you do your old habit that's already implemented, and then your brain goes, oh, and now we're going to do that, and then layer them on top of each other. And then before you know it, those two will become old habits, and then you can layer another one on top of that. And that's how you create a routine, because you're stacking those habits on top of each other. And obviously a group of habits make a routine. So yeah, and I think if you stack one at a time as well, like what I said about starting small and building up, it means that each of them is really solid and really implemented, so that your routine, when you look back, like when I've looked back at, like when I've tried to implement habits, and I have, like for example now, And I then look at my routine, I'm like, wow, like we took the time to implement a habit and a habit, and we stack them and we stack them until I've created this routine for myself. And my routine now is so much stronger because I really took the time to work on each habit and implement it and not move on to the next one until this one was solid. So it's really rewarding when you actually realize you've created a routine for yourself. You're like, oh, like this is just what we do now. And then you can look at your routine and look at all the habits within it, and it's so satisfying and so rewarding. So yeah, use habit stacking. It is such an important and really easy and simple trick. So that is the end of today's episode, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope you can take away something from today's episode. I think this is just like crucial and such useful information and stuff that I have really genuinely learned and used. And I think it is just so important. Like, yeah, I think habits are the key to literally a successful life, because when you look at your habits, they are your life. Your habits build your routine and your routine is your life. And if you can master your habits, you can master your life. I am telling you that now. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this, guys. As always, you can message me on socials or in the comments if there's anything you want to see or hear. And yeah, just another massive thank you so much for being here and for listening or for watching, whatever you do. Thank you so much for all the engagement. Give me a follow on podcast, give me a follow on Spotify or YouTube if you enjoyed. And yeah, thank you so much. I love you. Bye.